Good evening. This is a message basically to South Wales because I haven't had any other replies this week. So, good evening. Nostar. I don't even know if you're Welsh. Are you a blow-in or are you a proper taff? I don't think you should say taff, should you? But some great work this week. Some great work. Turning into a prize student if ever I had one. And boy, you've put the work in. I can tell you've put the work in. You know, it rings out of the stuff that you're sending me here. So I am eager to say your name, but this is a public forum, so I'm not going to. South Wales is close enough. Let's go through it. I was reading all that positive and negative predictive power stuff that you sent me, and I think you got the hang of it. But by the time I'd stopped reading it again, I had to go and have a little bit of an aspirin because it was a bit confusing for me. But yeah, I think you got the hang of that all right. And I like the list of signs as well. Although, you know, I'm not really sure whether you listed those signs in order of priority. I'm not sure whether you did, because if you'd have done, I would have thought that there was a case. I would have thought that there was a case of putting fatigue at the top, because my contacts in the field tell me that even before there's edema, even before there's breathlessness, people start to complain about deathly fatigue. We're not just talking about like, oh, I've been for a bit of a walk, I think I'll have a lie down. None of that nonsense. But even where people are not actually puffing and panting, they are still getting that sort of soul-sapping fatigue that the slightest thing and you're starting to feel like you're half dead. Terrible sensation. Yeah, it's a terrible condition if you think about it. Yes, indeed, you've got a load of causes of heart failure there. You know, and it is a point that you have to keep on pulling yourself up on. I have to keep on pulling. I'm in charge of the Lincoln module. That heart failure is a symptom. You know, it's like itch. It's not a disease in itself. It's something's caused this, and the causes are. How long have you got? You know, you've put a comprehensive list here, but you know it doesn't even go near to it. You know, have you got heart transplant rejection, for instance? I doubt it. You know, there's just one thing after another. Screening for the over 55s, yes, indeed. You know, when anyone wants a round of applause from the audience, they always start talking about, you know, screening. But on the other hand, screening in what way? How would you do your screening? What would you stop doing that you started doing screening over 55? What good cause would have to go without its funding for you to do that sort of thing? And then there's the false positives. You know, what about the poor people who get terrified because you know, some test or others come in saying that they're ill, and in fact they're not. And you know, you pointed well there to all of a sudden here you've got this person who thinks that they're doing all right, who thinks that they're well, and now this thing comes in, and this person can't get out of bed because they're so depressed, thinking that their time is nigh. You know, and again, your point, in the area, in a situation where where many areas, my area and your area, can't afford the use of BMP, doing needless tests on well people doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Again, nice comprehensive list there to about the causes of breathlessness. Yes, indeed. And you know, on my modules, on my face-to-face modules, I get a lot of community nurses who do a fair bit of complaining about GPs, it has to be said. But I have an instinctive sympathy for GPs, because if you've got someone coming in through the door who's 68 years old, saying that they are breathless, You know, it could be any one of a million things that's causing it, way beyond heart failure. And to send them all down for an echo on the basis that it might be heart failure would convert a waiting list of 3 months into a waiting list of 9 months. Hardly seems justified. You know, I really feel for GPs. Because get one wrong and you're the worst fella in the world. And yeah, heart failure is tricky. It's tricky to deal with. It's tricky to give prognoses in. It's tricky to know when the person's going into the dying phase. It's a real sly condition. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say about screening for heart failure is the whole word, the whole expression heart failure. In one sense, with heart failure, the last thing that your heart has done is failed. Because even though it has had a walloping big bit of damage done to it, it's still ticking, it's still setting its own rate, it's still not getting tiring out. You know, it's still, to a degree, capable of auto-regulation. That doesn't sound like failure to me. That sounds like a miracle of engineering. But you're going to say to a person who doesn't feel well, or think you're in heart failure, that your heart isn't up to it, you know. Oh, I actually think we should change the words. Heart failure is a bad term. Urea in creatinine, well done South Wales, really got it there. The way I put it in class is that urea, your breakdown product of protein from your diet, and creatinine, breakdown product of protein from yourself. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Because when a person goes into renal failure, they do to cream drowned in his car. But I mean, what a nurse. The fella comes to your house and could do a cardiac output monitoring on you in your home using this device that he's got. I mean, that's pretty good service, if you don't mind me saying so, Mr. Nicholson. That's pretty impressive. That's not intensive care stuff. And he's got it in the back of his car, bringing it out for his own patients. Good on you, mate. New York Heart Association standards. Yeah, okay. I think you missed what I was driving at there a little bit, South Wales. In that, what I was driving at was to say, this is the doctor looking at you and making up his mind how well you're doing. This is an observer test, yeah? And of course, one observer may not have the same estimation of breathless doing on minimal exertion. This might mean slightly different things to different observers. Plus, it's a very passive test in that it just does not give the patient any scope at all for saying, what's your quality of life? How do you think you're doing? So, useful. Oh, absolutely useful. You know, real good shorthand. But it has its limitations. There is there's a refractory angina unit in Liverpool, where the first question that the consultant asks as they walk through the door is, tell me, 0 to 5, how good is your quality of life? And that's a nice baseline to start from, don't you think? Don't you think that's a nice baseline? And he writes it down in the notes. Puts quality of life at 4.5. Nice one. You know whether the patient thinks that they're getting worse or not. Thank you very much indeed. Very interesting replies. And love the idea. Can't emphasise this enough. Love the idea for the essay. I think someone did one like this not long ago, actually. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write to them and see if I can get any more essays off them. Consult the essay bank. Have a little look at what other people have previously done, and do thou likewise. So, nothing more to say. Keep it coming. Well sweetened as a result. Your friend still hasn't been in touch, and I think I'm going to advise her to withdraw. So, speak to you next week. All the best.